Hi, Vanessa here. So today I figured I'd talk maybe a little more about yarn for the knitting machine because that is one of the things that I found most difficult when I was first starting. Before I get too far though, it would really help me out if you um, could subscribe to my channel. And if you enjoy this video, please, hit the like button. And if you got a minute, stop by, leave a comment. Let me know, do you have a knitting machine that you've never tried? Is a knitting machine something that you've been thinking about buying? Do you knit? Do you crochet? Just tell me more about yourself. Do you like to sew? Um, I know once I've played around with the knitting machine and gotten comfortable with it, I do intend to be sewing some bras at some point over the next couple of months or so. And, I'm just kind of curious to know if that's something that you would be interested in seeing some content on as well. So, getting back to the yarn. The, Now, when you buy a knitting machine, they will talk about pitch or gauge. And from what I understand, there's three kinds. There's the standard gauge, which has a 4.5 millimeter pitch. And I believe that is the distance between the needles. And this happens to be the type of machine that I purchased. Um, so it can knit from fairly fine yarn up to fingering weight or sock weight yarn easily. Supposedly you can go with a heavier weight yarn if you only use every other needle. I have not tried it. I have seen some videos where it has been tried, and it seems like it works. It's just not something I want to struggle with, because it does look like it's kind of hard to get the carriage to go across and all that. Now there's also mid-gauge machines, and I think they run about 6.5 millimeter pitch, and they're supposed to handle, like, say, sock weight, your DK, like you could knit like your super saver type yarn on that. And then there's what's called a bulky machine, and that is, I think, a 9 millimeter pitch, and it can take, I think it can take yarn up to the number 5 on the label. I don't know quite how bulky it can go, but you can still do your super saver yarn. I'm not sure so much if you can go as fine as, say, the fingering weight yarn on those machines. To me, that would be ideal. Like, I wish maybe I had done more research before I purchased and had found a machine that would knit, say, from sock weight to your super saver type yarn. I don't Chunky yarns knit up so fast anyways. I don't know so much as if I wouldn't find it disappointing if I couldn't knit those heavier weight yarns on the machine, because, like I said, they knit, whatever your project is, they do knit up very quickly. But say, like, for instance, a super saver yarn, like, I call this my ugly yarn Afghan. It was the only yarn at Walmart at the time where I could find enough yarn to complete a project, enough yarn of the same dye lot to complete a project, and I suspect that's because nobody else wanted it. But whatever, it came out. It's a nice Afghan. Who cares if it's orange, fuchsia, olive, and blue, right? But, like, that took a year to knit, right? Whereas if it was chunky weight, it would have been done in no time. So that's kind of where I'm at with yarn. I have not got my second sock ready to knit yet, so I just wanted to let you guys know that second sock, I guess I got overconfident when the first sock went so well, because let me tell you, that second sock is kicking my backside. It has fallen off the machine I don't know how many times, so I think static is the issue. And there's a couple ways to deal with that. One of them is you can put it in the freezer overnight. So we're going to try that before I start again with it. And anyway, so that's where I am with the socks. So now let's talk about yarn that I have bought, aside from a little bit of sock yarn that I have bought specifically to try to work with on the knitting machine. So one of the first yarns I bought, I think this was in the clearance rack because I like to buy clearance goods. So this is from Michaels, the wool like yarn, and it is fine enough to work on the knitting machine. Wait for that to clear a little bit, right? So that works out okay. The problem is I think there's only about say 6 colors, maybe 7 colors, at least here in Canada. I don't know. Sometimes in the States you guys get more selection than we do here in Canada. So that's another thing. If you've bought this yarn and Michaels in the States offers more colors, that's kind of something I wouldn't mind knowing for sure. So hey, yeah, leave me a comment so that I know how much better you guys got it over there for buying yarn. So there's that. And then as far as like at Michaels or Walmart, the only other yarns that I've been able to find aside from this or sock yarn is when you get into like your baby yarns. But the problem is those are all pastels, they're baby colors, and that's not what I'm really interested in working with. I like color when I'm working on projects. I'm a sucker for variegated yarn, let's face it. And I just, yeah, like I like fun stuff. I like using yarn that it's oh, how's this color change gonna look? And it just keeps you going, something to look forward to. So then, as it happened, shortly before Christmas, I was on Facebook Marketplace because I am kind of on the lookout for a good chunky or mid-weight knitting machine. If I find a good deal anyways, because I do have a super saver stash that I would kind of like to use up. So anyways, I was on Facebook Marketplace and I happened to come across where it was kind of like an estate sale. Not that the original owner had passed, but she was no longer knitting. She had gone into like a care home because, due to age and illness. So she had also, she had used her knitting machines basically to earn a living. She would knit and sell Afghans. She did custom sweaters. And I think she also acted as like a distributor for knitting machine type yarn. And so when you're buying yarn specifically for the knitting machine, it comes in cones like this. So I'm going to take the plastic off this first. So this is a 1 pound cone, and this one happens to be an acrylic wool blend. So it's almost a pound, right? And that's actually I guess the preferred and easier to use yarn with the knitting machine. So when I went, she had a little bit of wool and wool blends left. So this was $10. And I was able to get that same type. So this one was called Old Rose. And then there was this one, which is Marble Blend. So it's kind of like a blue and gray together. And sorry, but I know there is one more that's a blend. And I'm trying to make sure I keep the labels with them so that I don't lose track. And okay, so this is a heather blend. And it's this really pretty lavender type color. I mean, it looks gray on the screen, so I apologize for that because it's not. It's really a very lovely lavender color with more reddish and more bluish purples kind of blended together. So it's unfortunate that it's not showing the true color because it is, like I said, quite pretty. This one here, I'm there's a sweater that I want to make. It's on the Garn Studio, I think it's called, website, because they do a lot of free patterns on there. So I think this is enough to do that sweater. So I'm hoping that's going to be my next project when I'm done playing with socks. So, and this video is quite long, so I think at some point I'm going to be editing it and be reminded of how much I really hate the way my voice sounds on these things. So this next yarn, there was 2 cones of this, and once you get out of the wool, and oh wait a minute, I did have one more wool. I don't know why I took the label out. It is a very dark green, and it is a 100% wool yarn. It sounds like it's a superwash type yarn, although I would probably knit a test swatch and wash it and dry it and see if that's actually true before I knit an entire project with it. But it's a very nice dark green color. So that's it for the wool and wool blends that I purchased. And like I said, those were $10 a cone. So, you know, I don't know, can you buy a wool blend yarn up like a pound of wool or wool blend yarn for $10? I'm not sure. So this one here is this very, very soft pink mauve color, and it's 100% acrylic, and it's a little bit finer of a yarn. So this would probably I would either do 2 strands together because there's 2 cones, or maybe I do have a lace carriage for my machine, so maybe I would experiment with some lace with this. But anyways, that's that. I'll put those 2 aside. Then there was this purple color. I do like purple. I'm not sure if this is a full cone, but it is also 100% acrylic, and it's a slightly thicker strand, as you can see, and it's a nice deep purple. I guess purples don't really, either they're not showing up well on the camera or they're just not showing up well on my screen. So, and then we got 2 cones of this bluish green. So, and everything aside from the wool cones was $5 a cone. Actually, yeah. So, and then there's this one here, kind of like this one too. It's a reddish color. What's the label say? It doesn't give a color. It just says 4-ply 100% acrylic. Oh, wait a minute. There's a label. Can I see it? It's in there. Way up at the top. Now, why would you do that? I don't know. Maybe I'll be able to read it later with my magnifier. So, yeah, you can see the thickness there. And it's a red tweedy type color I kind of like. And then I got these, oops. I've got 3 balls of these, so, you know, they're each a pound, and it's a dark green um, 100% acrylic again. So some of this yarn is quite old, but it's all, you can tell, properly stored. Like there's no musty smell to it or anything. And then there's this other yarn, and it's kind of a neat look. So I got 2 cones of this, and it's got a really different texture, and I wish it would show up. You can almost see, like, see how it's got like a little bit of a sparkle to it. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this. It's also a very you know how cotton has like a hard feel, it doesn't it's not smooshy or whatever. So that's kind of like this. It has a very firm feel to it. So I'm not sure what I will use it for, but it was a nice color, and it's just this kind of really cool sparkly and different texture. So I think like I'd really like to do something where it's some unique different stitches, because I think this type of yarn you're going to get like really nice sharp stitch definition. So if if you're playing around with unusual stitch patterns and whatnot, it's really going to show to advantage. So there is one more. I forgot to bring it over before when I was setting up. I'm going to get that, and it's kind of a neat one too. So this one, it's pretty soft and fluffy, but it's where's the end? So this is actually like 3 different threads. So one is this dusty rose mauve-ish color, one blue, and one has like, I don't know, like a very faint grayish hint to it. So, and it is very very fluffy. But if I remember right, it is also a 100% acrylic yarn. I think this one might have been $10 as well. Again, the color reads more lavender mauve than what it shows on the screen. The screen is showing it as gray, so maybe on your device, hopefully it shows up a little nicer than that. So yeah, so that is what I have so far for yarn for the knitting machine. So some of the where there's more than one cone for the color, so some of those might be suitable maybe for afghans or blankets, we'll see. And then some of the wool blends, like I know for sure, like I said, the one, that bluish color, not that it's like, there's colors that I like better, but I currently do not have a nice cardigan type sweater. It's been a while. So I used to have this wonderful shaker knit sweater that I got when I was like 19 and had for, I don't know, 30 years. I had silicone caulking on the sleeve. The buttons were all gone. It was stretched beyond belief, but it was the coziest, most comfortable sweater, and I wore it a lot. And I've really missed having it. Unfortunately, I left it outside one time and it got rained on maybe multiple times, and it got kind of smelly, and the smell would not wash out for whatever reason. It became permanent. So yeah, it went in the garbage, and I've missed it for a very long time. So it will be nice to have something that I can wear like that, easy to throw it on when you're feeling a little chilly, and then when the hot flash hits, you can set it aside. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. I have projects in mind. I do have some sewing that I want to do, and for now, I'm just working on finishing up socks and getting a good handle on that, because that, of course, is always like nice to have that ready and waiting in the wings for, say, Christmas gifts for the next Christmas when it comes around. They're always here before I'm ready, that's for sure. And yeah, and just something to play with and fill time in the evening. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, if your voice didn't annoy you or if my voice did not annoy you as much as it annoys me, hit like, subscribe. Um, you know, I think I'm almost at the 300 mark as far as subscribers, so that would be cool to break that. And leave a comment and let me know where your interest lay. Like, did you just arrive here because you found my video on the turtle topiary, or did you come across for knitting? Did you maybe find my video on how to set up for circular knitting on a Singer machine? Because I gotta tell you, I looked long and hard and finally had to ask for help in a Facebook group I'm in before I could figure that one out myself. So, just, yeah, leave a comment, hit like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.